everybody, and welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. This is Jeanette, and today we will be working on square number 223, the Hope Granny Square. It's a cute little square with two circles intertwined in the middle. A lot easier to work than it looks. I hope you guys enjoy making this one. And let's go ahead and grab our hooks and our yarn, and let's get started. Alright everybody, we begin this granny square with a chain of 12. And try to chain as loose as you can, because we will be working into each individual chain. We are not going to be working into the ring, but into the chains. So make them loose so that you don't have any problems getting into each stitch. Okay, so we chain 12, we join with a slip stitch to the first chain that we made, the last one from the hook. And then we chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and then we double crochet into the stitch that we slip stitched into that first chain. Okay, so we have 2 in the first chain. And we are going to now put 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. And with 12 chains at the end, you should have 24 double crochets. So I am going to let you guys go ahead and work on that, and we will meet back when we are ready to join and continue on to our next step. So 2 double crochets in each chain all the way around, and we'll meet back when we're ready to join. Okay, so I am at the end. There are 24 double crochets all the way around. And now we are going to join to the top of our chain 3 with a slip stitch, and that is it for this ring. We cut our yarn and weave in our ends, and I will do that in a second. But now we need to start on our second ring, which is worked the same as the first. So we're going to start that off with a chain of 12. Just get myself set up here. And remember not to do it too tight, because you have to be able to get into each stitch. And that's a challenge for me because I crochet very tightly. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now with this one, you're going to take the beginning of your chain, put it through the center of the first ring that we made, and then you join it with a slip stitch. And this is how we make them interlock. So that's how we're doing that. We chain 3, we work another double crochet into, hold on, because I like to go over my tails. There we go. Okay, join with the slip stitch. Chain 3, that's our first double crochet, and then we double crochet once more into that same stitch that we slip stitched into, and same as the first ring, 2 double crochets in each chain all the way around. There are 12 chains, so you should end up with 24 double crochets, and that includes your beginning chain 3. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. I'm going to leave you all to do that. Continue around your ring. You'll just have to slide this one further along to get out of your way so you can reach all of your chains. At the end, you need to have 24 on this one, just like you had 24 on this one, and I will meet you back when we're ready to join. Okay, here we are at the end of the second ring, and I was going to weave in my ends off camera, but I don't know if any of you would be interested in seeing how I join in crochet so that it is seamless. You can't see, seamless, invisible, however you want to say it. This is called an invisible join, and I take the yarn. Let me undo this. When you make your last stitch, normally you would slip stitch into this chain 3. You're not supposed to do that with an invisible join. You would make your last stitch, cut your yarn, pull it all the way through your last loop, go ahead and get it on your needle, and you're going to do somewhat of a duplicate stitch, meaning these V's that you have on the top here, you're going to mimic this last one with the yarn from, actually this first one with the yarn from your last one. So you go in underneath your second stitch that you made, and you're basically copying the path that the yarn is taking here on this first stitch. So go in on top of the first leg of that stitch, pull your yarn through underneath the second stitch, come back over, and in case, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but you're pulling your yarn that you're weaving in over the other leg of the first stitch made, and then you go into the center of the loop where your yarn comes out of. I hope you guys can see this. I am not using the best yarn for this. Starting to split and everything, but you can see where the yarn is coming out. You want to put your needle right back in there and just go all the way down. And this is how I join. Kind of mess with the yarn a little bit, straighten it out. This one split a little bit, so it's kind of sticking out, but normally it doesn't do that. And you can pull it as tight as you need to. And it doesn't take much to secure your ends. I kind of go back and forth a few times, and it usually stays pretty well. So I go up one stitch, down the next stitch, and up the next stitch. And it's usually pretty secure. In this one, just because it's going to be hard for me. Actually, will it be hard? No, I think I'll be able to weave in my ends or crochet over my ends on this one. Okay, so that's how I do that. I just thought I'd show you guys real quick. It's kind of helpful, some of these squares where you don't want your joints to be seen. Some of them it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 on this one because we are not fastening off. We are going to continue with this yarn. So once we slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain to join our ring, we are going to chain 1, single crochet into the same stitch, which is a little tight. Okay. And if you need to mark this with a stitch marker, please go ahead and do it. My yarn is pretty thick. The one I used for this color is a lot thicker than my first one, so I'm not going to have a problem seeing that again. But if your yarn is thinner, sometimes it kind of disappears. So go ahead and mark your first single crochet with a stitch marker if you might have a problem finding it again. So we single crocheted in this stitch. We're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we have those 6 in total now. And then we're going to single crochet through both circles, and it can be any stitch on this first one, it doesn't matter, just line them up. This is how you're going to connect them. So through any stitch on this first one and the next stitch on the second one. So go pull a loop through that, pull that same loop through the first one, and there's your single crochet, and they are now joined. So now we are going to single crochet in the next 15 stitches on the first circle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just want to make sure I didn't skip anything. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Now we are going to skip 7 stitches on circle number 2. So we need to kind of flip it over a little bit and count from here. Okay, so we're starting from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going into this one next. I'm just going to put my hook there for now to make sure I have the right one. Okay. Sometimes it's just one of those days. All right. So this should be the 8th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we're skipping those 7. and we're going to single crochet through this 8th stitch and the next stitch in the first circle. So we have the 8th stitch on circle number 2 and the very next stitch on circle number 1. So you pull your loop through circle 1, pull that same loop all the way through circle 2 and single crochet, and that's what you should have so far. Now we single crochet into the next 9 stitches on circle number 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so this is how you should look at the end of this round. We are going to slip stitch into the first single crochet, and we are not fastening off. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's the end of this round. Okay, so now on to round 2. Our first round was connecting our 2 rings. This is round 2. We start off with a chain of 6, and that counts as our first single crochet, and a chain of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 6. We are going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we are going to repeat 3 times, single crochet into the next 6 stitches, okay, so that should be 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and chain 5, and skip the next 2 stitches. That is our repeat. So we've done it once, and now we're going to do our next 6 single crochets, and what we're doing here is making our corners. So that's one corner, that's another. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets, chain 5, and skip the next 2 stitches. This is the third repeat. So 6 single crochets, chain 5, and skip 2 stitches. Now for the last side, we already have a single crochet here represented by a chain of 1. So we are going to, after we skip our 2 stitches, single crochet into the next 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we join with the slip stitch into the first chain space. And that is what we should have at the end of our second round. So we should have a total of 24 single crochets, including that first chain, and 4 chain 5 spaces for our 4 corners. Okay, so starting round 3, we begin with a chain of 3, which is our first double crochet. And then in these 5 chains, we are going to work stitches. Normally we do our corners into the space, but in this square we are going to be working in each separate chain. So in the next chain, the first chain of this chain 5 space, we are going to put 1 double crochet, and I probably should have worked these a little looser because this is going to be a little challenging. Okay, so we put 1 double crochet into that first chain, and in the second chain we are going to make our corner for this next round. And normally we would do this in the middle chain, which would be the third, but it all works out in the end. This pattern is written where the corner is worked into the second chain space, and there we go, or a second chain. So we double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in that same chain, okay, and you have 3 chains left. You're going to put 1 double crochet in each of those, okay, and I like to go under both legs of the stitch, so I'm just making this more difficult for myself than it should be. If you want to just go under one part of the stitch, that's totally fine. Okay, so there's my 3. So in this chain 5 space, we work into each chain. The first one is a double crochet, the second chain has double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and the last 3 chains each have 1 double crochet. So you have the 6 single crochets coming up next. Each one of those single crochets gets 1 double crochet. And then we are back to a corner, and we put 1 double crochet into this first chain, and we are just going to repeat this all the way around. So here is our corner. We should have 10 stitches going across. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. And then in this next chain we're going to put the next corner, and then 10 double crochets across, 3 in these last 3 chains, 6 more in these 6 single crochets, and the 10th double crochet is going to go into this first chain in the next corner space, and then repeat around the corner in the second chain, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, 10 double crochets across, work your next corner, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to join at the end. Okay, here we are at the end of round 3, and all my stitches are done. So now we are going to join to the top of the chain 3 and fasten off. You can do the invisible join here if you like. You don't have to, because we are going to join our next color in the same stitch we just slip stitched into. So I'm not too concerned with that join showing. So pull it nice and tight. Actually, I think I'm going to make a knot. just make it a little bit more secure so that it doesn't pop out later. So pull it through, then yarn over and pull through that. There we go. So that is a little bit more secure. Okay, so now we are going to join our third color into the stitch that we just slip stitched and fastened off into. So it's right here. So we are going to join our new color with a slip stitch, and then we are going to chain 3, and that will be our first double crochet. And I always go over my ends. You can do it however you're comfortable, totally up to you. Okay, so we chain 3, and now we're going to double crochet into the next 2 stitches. If you do crochet over your ends, always make sure that you have them to the back of your work so they're not so visible from the front. Okay, so that's our chain 3 and the DCs in the, double crochets in the next 2 double crochets. And we are at our chain 3 space, which is our corner. So now we are going to work 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets into the space, not into stitches. So this one will be a lot easier than the last corner we did. Okay, 3 double crochets, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. Okay, so yours should look like this, and we are going to double crochet into the next 12 double crochets. I'm losing my stitches all over the place today. Okay, so let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of the square. Okay, so 1 double crochet in each of the 12 stitches along each side, and then into your chain 3 space you're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets to make your corner. 12 double crochets in the 12 stitches, you make your corner, 12 more, make your corner, and then we'll meet back when we're ready to join at the end of this round. Okay, here I am at the end of round 4. This is what you should have. This is how your square should look. I've made my last few stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. As always, tight. Okay, there we go. Join with a slip stitch. Now I have measured my square and it is 5 inches. If you know that you crochet tight or you crochet loose, you should, before doing your final 1 or 2 rounds, take a measurement and decide how many more rounds you need to do. And once you've decided that, figure out what size stitch you need to get to 6 inches. I know that my double crochets are 1/2 inch. I'm at 5 inches. I need an inch more, so I'm going to do a final round of double crochet. In the pattern, it says round 5 should be 1/2 double crochet. If that works for the way that you crochet, go ahead and do that. If you need your round 5 to be single crochet, feel free to do that. You kind of have to be able to change the pattern as you need, because not everybody crochets the same. If you need more than 5 rounds, feel free to do that. So if you're doing 1/2 double crochets, you should chain 2, and that would be your first 1/2 double crochet. I'm doing double crochets, so I am chaining 3, but either way you're going to do the same thing as what I'm about to do. So we are going to work into the next 5 stitches. So it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then in the corner, I'm going to work 3 of my stitches, a chain 3, and 3 more stitches. So like I said, if you're doing 1/2 doubles, it would be 3 1/2 doubles, a chain 3, and 3 1/2 doubles. I am doing double crochets, so I am doing 3 of those, chain 3, and 3 more. And then you are going to work 1 stitch into each stitch across. It should be 18 on each side, in between your chain 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You should have 18 stitches in between your chain 3 space. If not, you might have missed something somewhere. Go ahead and work 1 stitch in each stitch, make your corner, 1 stitch in each stitch, make your corner, all the way around. On this last side, you should be left with 12 stitches to work into, and then I'll meet you when we're ready to join. All right, here we are at the end. I've done my last few stitches. Join to the top of your chain. Whatever you ended up needing to do, go ahead and join with a slip stitch. And we are finished. And that is square number 223. The Hope Granny Square. I hope you guys enjoyed making this one. There we go. This is what you should end up with. I hope you enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.